Cool. So we're going to go through jaw and neck class. This is like a David Gray rehab inspired class. He works with the upper rib cage, the jaw, the neck, and does a lot of really nice things to loosen up those tissues. So we're going to move the neck itself. We'll do a couple of jaw movements, and we'll get like the upper rib cage movement as well with some reaches. So we'll start with just like a basic assessment. You can do this yourself to see what your range of motion's like in your neck, and then you can compare after the little class, which will take about 15 minutes or so. So Rebecca is going to just start with her rotation. So imagine that there's just that straight skewer through the top of your head and you're rotating on that axis. So you don't want any like side bending along with your rotation. And you're only going as far as comfortable. You're noticing does one side have more space than the other. You can see Rebecca kind of almost side flexes into her right side there as she comes round. So you're going to just keep your head, go into neutral. And I want you to go back to neutral again. So I just want you to go there, and that's a cleaner rotation there. You go less distance, but it's a more true reflection of your rotation. And you're just noticing, is it like stiff? Is it smooth? None of it really matters. And if you are suffering from acute neck pain, it's a really good thing to explore that. But again, you're not pushing into anything that's sore or uncomfortable or your end of range. Just naturally explore what's available to you and breathe quietly, slowly through the nose. The next one is flexion extension. So you're going to just let gravity take your head forwards, and then you're going to extend and look up to the ceiling. And again, you're just noticing what happens with this one. You'll be able to flex and extend your neck in a couple of different places. So you can kind of think of it as what's the skull doing on top of the neck, and then what's the neck itself doing as it connects to the rest of your spine at the upper back. Nothing's right or wrong here. It's just like see what's available to you, and if you can just let gravity take your head forwards, or are you trying to control that? Can you a sign of good extension is your ear hole. Does it go behind your shoulders, or does it stay still and you just tip your skull backwards? So there's different types of neck flexion and extension, but again, you're just exploring that range. And then the next one is a side flexion. So your ear tips towards your shoulder. Again, you're trying to get that as clean as possible without adding rotation or shrugging your shoulders or anything like that. Your aim is to just keep everything as soft as possible through the neck. See what you have available. Often you'll feel tighter on one side than the other. So I've got just a few notes I'm going to keep referring to, and we're going to explore some of these exercises now, which will just get the top of the rib cage moving really nicely. Hopefully get the jaw moving a bit more cleanly as well, and it'll increase a lot of that range of motion that we just explored through the neck with Rebecca. So Rebecca's going to lie on her back, and probably the best setup for this is bent knees, feet flat, and relax as much as possible in that position. Throughout this whole class, the best breathing strategy is teeth slightly open, tongue in the roof of the mouth, and breathe quietly, slowly through the nose. So you're almost trying to hide your breathing. You should get a full inhale and a full exhale, but I shouldn't see like massive chest up or head up whenever you're trying to breathe, because we're trying to reduce the input from all of those neck muscles that are there to help you breathe whenever you're stressed or whenever you're out of breath. And the problem for many people is that they're always working a little bit too hard. So the point of this whole class is to help those to soften and help you to de-stress and help you to breathe without the assistance of those neck accessory muscles. So let's start with just the jaw movements. So this is a really strange one for many people. It's not a movement they've explored before. And we're going to look at how much your jaw can actually move forwards and backwards, how much it can open and close. And you'll find that it can break up a lot of the tension around your neck, and you feel really, really nice and loose after some of this stuff. It can help you to breathe better as well by opening up the airway. People that kind of grit their teeth at night as well will have loads of tension in those muscles around the jaw. So Rebecca is going to just place her hands underneath that bony part, underneath the corner of the jaw. And you're going to soften, breathe gently, and you're going to jut your jaw forwards. So you just kind of slide your bottom jaw. And at this point, the mouth naturally opens, and you continue to breathe through your nose. And you see how close you can get that bottom jaw to the ceiling, and then you just let it fall back into place. Might start as a really small movement. You might feel that you've got like one side that moves lots and one that doesn't move. The goal here for Rebecca is to try and get both sides to move equally and to do it with as little tension as possible. And you struggle with that, don't you? Like upwards. Yeah. So it's a protraction of the jawbone. Yeah, you're quite tense there. But again, it'll just break up some of that tension. You can time it with your breathing. So inhale, protract, and then exhale, just let it fall back and the lips close again. That was a better one. And keep going for those, maybe 10 breaths or so. And you're aiming to do this without tension. We're trying not to clench. And it helps to time it with the breath. So inhale as your jaw slides forwards. And then you let the air fall out, your chest falls, everything around the neck relaxes, and your jaw just falls back to being closed again. Go for another few of those. It looks like you're getting a little bit more with each rep now. Yeah, that's really good. And it really tunes you into your breath as well. Your neck and your upper ribs should just be getting softer with every exhale, as will the jaw muscles as well. Does that feel like you're getting a wee bit more of a glide? And then the other one, this really surprises me whenever I do it, because I would do a little bit of a TMJ release with some patients, and I get them to open the jaw as we press into the muscles. And it's surprising how many people can't open their jaw much at all. It's just all blocked up with that tension. So the next one is you just stay relaxed. Your elbows can be on the floor. And you're just going to open your jaw as far as it can go comfortably. And then you're on the inhale. And on the exhale, you just close your jaw. Yeah.
Through your nose?
Yeah. Or if it's more comfortable to breathe through the mouth, you can do that as well. In fact, keep your hands there just to appreciate how much those jaw muscles can kind of lengthen as your jaw opens. And then naturally let it fall, your jaw fall closed again. And again, you might find that one side opens more smoothly or one's tighter than the other. You're just trying to like make it equal between the two sides, and you're trying to do it with minimal tension. You sometimes find like your jaw clicks or moves a little bit towards the end. That's okay. Perfect. And then relax there again. So 10 to 15 reps of the jaw opening. So you'll already find, hopefully, that that's going to just like free up the neck. And if you want to, you can retest some of your neck movements. But we're going to go into a bit of movement for the eyes as well. There's a really nice stretch through the neck as well. Sometimes you'll feel a little bit of clicking, popping. That's okay. But what you're going to do, Rebecca, is a protraction and an inhale, and you're going to look up all at once. And then you're just going to do your relaxed exhale again, and you kind of fall back to neutral, jaw closed. And again, protract, look up. And that's going to create this nice extension through the neck. We don't want it to be this like forced extension of the neck, but naturally that will happen. We get like a protraction of the jaw. We'll look up as well. And that's going to help you to hopefully lengthen a lot at the front of the neck. And again, unlock a lot of this tension through neck and jaw. Go for 2 more reps there, and notice the chest fall that little bit more. Remember to just soften through upper rib cage on your exhale. Last one. Perfect. So you're going to go for 10 to 15 reps there. You're doing this all as slowly as possible. And if I get you then, Rebecca, to put your hands on your collarbones or just underneath for this one, you're trying to keep your elbows like on the floor. Your body stays really, really heavy, and we're just going to really pay attention to breathing for a couple of minutes. So you can already press into some of that tissue just above the collarbone. And for a lot of people, that's tense at baseline. Those accessory muscles, if they work really hard through the day, you're already going to have some tension in behind the collarbones. The goal here is to soften that as much as possible. So think of lips are closed, tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and your teeth are unclenched. And you're just trying to soften with every exhale. And what we'll do is start to prolong the exhale. If you do live in that little bit of a stressful state, you tend to be in an elevated state of the upper rib cage, and that can really decrease your shoulder range of motion. It can cause headaches. It can decrease the range of motion at your neck as well. And another place you'll see this, so if you're experiencing lots of emotional stress, that can cause you to kind of elevate and scrunch up everything at the top. Another case is if you are one of those people that's really fixated on posture and you're pulling your shoulder blades together all the time, you can get very compressed up through the back, kind of the top of your rib cage at the back as well. So the next couple of things we're going to do is hopefully going to just let your shoulders fall away from your ears. It's going to open up your back when we do the reaches. And this one's going to let your rib cage fall at the front, which is super important for your shoulder mobility. So as I've been speaking there, Rebecca has naturally prolonged her exhale. Just trying to hide the inhale. That was probably a little bit of a sharp one. I saw her chest rise a little bit too quickly. So we're going to see the ribs fall on the exhale. And then Rebecca's going to try and hide the inhale from me. It's so slow, it's so quiet that I can't even see it happening. And even as she does that, I can see her neck wanting to pull, wanting to contract. There's some articulations in her neck. And that's telling me that she probably does use the neck with a lot of her breathing through the day. But right now they're starting to switch off, and that's probably a bit unfamiliar, but it's really good to get them to relax. So the thought process in this is the air falls out. Your collarbones and your first rib or two, they just fall forwards. You don't crunch, you don't use tension, you don't try. You just imagine that everything's letting go and they're just rolling forwards and sinking on your exhale. You pause at the end of the exhale, and then you try and hide your inhale. What will happen with the two hands whenever you exhale is they're naturally going to internally rotate and come in together. And on a slow inhale, they're going to move further away from each other, and you're going to get external rotation of the ribs and the chest. So you can do this for really as long as you want. It's going to be very, very relaxing. You're almost going to fall asleep doing this. So maybe set yourself a timer of 3, 4 minutes of just continuous breathing like this. And hopefully you'll feel super relaxed at the end and your neck will be completely switched off. Um, cool. I think that's those ones. I'm going to do one more, which is the reaches. So we're focused on getting the head and the jaw to move, and that's kind of created a lot of stretching and movement for those muscles, and it should feel really, really nice. Another way of doing it is essentially keeping the head where it is and getting those ribs and collarbones and shoulders to move a little bit. And a really nice way of doing that is with your scapular reaches. So we're going to get the shoulder blade to track around the outside of the rib cage. You're going to hopefully feel some opening up at the back. And if you're compressed up at the back and you always squeeze your shoulder blades together, this is going to feel really tight. It's going to feel like it's quite hard to breathe into. And that's why you're going to try and maintain that pace of breathing. You're going to try and hide your inhale. You're going to try and keep it really, really slow. And you're going to breathe into tension. And you find that instead of like hammering a muscle, stretching it, foam rolling, poking, if you put yourself into a position where there's a slight stretch and you can just build some relaxing breaths in that position, your nervous system learns to just let go and open up space for you back there. So what Rebecca is going to do is a lazy reach with her right hand. And what she's imagining is if you just let gravity take your arm now. So it's really floppy, really relaxed, and really lazy. And that's what Rebecca is trying to imagine the whole time. She keeps the bend in the elbow. She's not trying to like force this reach like this. It's like super, super lazy. So I'm going to let go of your hand and it's going to stay like that. And then you're going to reach. In fact, I'm going to help you with the first rep. So imagine that someone's hand is on your shoulder blade and somebody's hand is on your wrist, and they're going to gently lift your shoulder blade off the floor and pull the wrist towards the ceiling. And that wasn't done through tension. That wasn't done through compressing through here, through the pec and through the collarbone. It shouldn't really move too much. You should just feel this nice reach and lengthening through the back. So you're going to do it this time, Rebecca. You're going to just do that nice, relaxed reach. And you're not going to go too far. You're not going to force it. You're not going to compress at the front. You're just going to open at the back. And I'm going to get you to stay there. And I want you to just do your slow inhale. Remember to take that long, nice, relaxing breath in. And you can let the collarbone fall and the rib cage fall on your exhale. And then do another inhale. And you'll feel that this is the tension now behind the shoulder blade that you're probably trying to find expansion and you're probably trying to breathe into. And then go for one more breath there. Slow inhale, feel that stretch behind here. And then as you exhale, you're going to let that shoulder blade just fall naturally to the floor again. And then I'll get you to do another one, that nice smooth reach. It's not through tension, it's not through the neck. The neck stays soft, chest muscles stay soft, and your shoulder blade goes almost round the outside of the rib cage. Nice. Stay there for a slow inhale. Breathe into that tension. Notice that you're probably expanding your ribs at the back. And for somebody that has a really acute neck, like this can be quite sharp. You'll really feel tension up through the shoulder blade, up into the back of the head. And again, nothing here is forced. You're not building too much tension. Relax that side. Go for a couple on the right or left side just to compare. So you're not forcing this, you're just, is that the different side? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's maybe hard to see from the camera angle, but it's definitely a different strategy that Rebecca uses to move her left side. I can see pec, I can see everything around the collarbone is pulling her there. And even if you actually have somebody that can help you do this, a good strategy is hands um, on the shoulder blade, and then again let your arm go heavy there, and I can take the strain a little bit, and even just pulling some of the muscle, pulling the skin, pulling the shoulder blade round like this. Rebecca, I want you to like let this part of your back just fall onto the floor as best you can. There you go. And then breathe into that space. Soften that elbow. Yeah. And then I'll get you to do a few reps. Just imagine that shoulder blade is scooping around the outside. Stay there for your slow, quiet inhale, and then let the shoulder blade just kind of fall on the exhale. So Rebecca could do with a lot of these reps on the left side. Where does it feel like tension in the back?
Yeah, I can feel it in there, and then I almost feel it
Okay.
as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Feel it expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, and that can be quite intense, especially if you've just got one of those acute necks where everything's really, really tender. But you just add a little bit of a reach, stay there and breathe, and your nervous system will change and accept that. A nice little addition to this now is if you go for both arms and do whatever feels nice, but I find that sometimes it's good to turn the palms up and go for a little bit more of a bend in the elbows. And think of your forearms and wrists as really kind of like soft, like they kind of let go. And then it's your elbow that heads up in an arc as if it's going to go up and over the other side. So hips are soft, head is soft, and yes, there's some rotation going on, but it's the reach that eventually pulls you into the rotation rather than you twisting your torso to get there, if that makes sense. So Rebecca's going to go for the right. She's going to lift up and over, not shrugging too much, so relaxing the collarbone, and then getting really high up and over. And then eventually her spine's going to get pulled into a little bit of rotation. And then when she falls and comes back to the floor, she's going to find that more of her middle back is actually on the floor. And it's kind of a nice massage as well for the mid back. You get that nice space opening up there. Imagine that somebody's pulling on that, the skin stretching. And then when she returns, again, she's wider. She's got more of her back space actually touching the floor. And then as you get used to that movement, you can just start to get a little bit more fluid, reaching one over the other, over the other. Quiet, slow breathing, soft through the neck. And you can see that's just like, it's a little bit hard to coordinate. So if this one doesn't work, you just stick with the breathing on each side. Do one at a time. But Rebecca's very good at opening up through her right side, but there's very visible tension on the left side. So that's something that you can work on. Okay, and then come back up to just your kneeling position, and you can just explore your neck movements again. So all we've done there is break up some of the tension around jaw, the neck itself, the upper back, and this can be really relevant for shoulder pain patients as well. Being tight around the upper rib cage can really shut down your shoulder mobility. It can be relevant to mid and lower back pain patients because actually being able to tip your head forwards and backwards is key for everything going on down below. So if your neck is leading the movement, hopefully you have better movement down the chain. If you have had concussions or anything, if you're in contact sports, this can also be really, really useful. I think that's it.